How's it going? This is Sherrod again, furthering our conversation on P1A visa drafting. We're in the eligibility category, and I'm going to expand on the expert opinion or media expert opinions to satisfy that requirement. So when they say experts, this means both letters and also opinions that could be in publications. Like if they have a lot of press about them, that actually satisfies the expert opinion category, not like significant awards or other things, even though it helps bolster those, but those in themselves can qualify as expert opinions. And we actually introduced this in two ways in our petition. One is we do it as a list of articles about the person. And then second, we do it if we need to by actually having experts write letters about that individual. And it's very helpful for not only providing an opinion to fulfill that category of expert opinion, but also help give context to awards, rankings, consultations, and other things in the petition. Like, we even use them to provide context on the structure of petition or the industry norms when it comes to how they do contracts. So with that said, I have a couple examples pulled up along with our template to see how we put this into action. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay. So here we attack this first with publications. So not only do we give the articles, but we also give the about us of the article and try to get some information on how much viewership that it has. Okay. And then we also provide this kind of context that we found holding that kind of gives the standard they should be applying when looking at these. So the director applied the improper standard to the online published materials and should not hold a petitioner to an unsupported view that materials that are published online generally lack probative value. So that was a thing. So like where if it wasn't in a newspaper article, stuff like that, they weren't looking pretty favorably on the online publications, which is primarily what we use nowadays, of course. Okay. So of course, this is color coded because that's part of the original templates, but here's where we get into it is we like to list where the publications are coming from, starting with the most prominent and kind of going back into some of the more, unknown places. So like here, we're starting with the boxing scene, the Guardian, the WBA, which is one of the major boxing federations, right? And what we do is we list each article. Sometimes we'll give excerpts of them, and sometimes we'll also include viewership information if we have it. And in the back, we'll have the article itself, and then we'll have an about us about the author and maybe even the publication that it comes from, just to show how prestigious that they are. And what we like to see in these articles is where they discuss just that person and maybe them winning something is best, but also if they're just mentioned in different places, that's fine too. It's never, but you can never have too many there. I mean, you'll get to the point where it's just not as persuasive, especially if they have stuff from ESPN and Sports Illustrated, Forbes, stuff like that. You don't need as much, but it's all helpful to show that they are leading or well known in more than one country if you get publications that are from a variety of locales. And then the next way to do it is to get actual letters written from experts, right? So when we do that, we like to actually include quotations from those letters to put in here. So they can see it right there. They don't have to, you don't have to wait for them to go to the evidence to read the letter in its totality. You just put it right in front of them. And we put it in this format as a quote. And we don't just leave that there. We actually go back into the exhibits with it and list articles to show that the person that's writing the expert opinion is an expert. And don't use LinkedIn, don't use a resume, and don't use Wikipedia. Actually find independent corroboration, usually, articles on them themselves. to show that they are who they say they are and they have an opinion to give. Next, we'll give some examples of where this can be problematic. So where we get problems is if USCIS doesn't believe in the quality of the writer, or if there's not enough detail to look favorably upon the opinion that was offered. So here we're going back to Luke Power, which was a RFE that we're fixing. You prepared a letter, right? Marketing manager. However, media and marketing managers are communication and public relations specialists. They are not. They do not qualify as an expert in the field of motorsport. So right. So this is one where they are attacking the credibility of well, not even the credibility, but just the expert opinion of this person because they're in marketing, right? But even if a person is in marketing, you can argue that, hey, they're a sponsor and their job is to pick the best people in the sport so that they can get the most return on their investment. And through doing that, they've made their own opinion. That's good. But it's a bit of a stretch to use the marketing people, but that's how I would do it. I would introduce them as sponsors that are looking for the best talent in the world to return on their marketing investment. All right. So for this one, we end up writing some more letters, including one from the governing body. So the governing body, while it is a criteria in its own, that same letter can still serve as an expert opinion if the person writing it is an expert and not just some official with the organization. So in this particular letter, we talk about this particular person's their own expertise in motorcycle sports and knowing bike riders, and then have him get into the nitty-gritty of each of the things that we were trying to prove. Like we have his junior championships. He's explaining how important that is here. Top 10 finishes, mentions Australian National Moto Championship, and things of that nature. So if you get the opportunity to work with the organization that's the governing body, you could also spruce that up so it can be included as an expert opinion. Let's see another one. So another thing that, here's another one. So this is a boxer. And we submitted some letters, and here's what they said. They said that the superlatives were of the beneficiary's skill and talent. However, discussing skill and talent alone are insufficient to satisfy this criterion. So here's another thing to look at for. You need to be careful about what words you put in these expert opinions. So here they say they don't like the word biggest prospects, or they don't like that it discusses amateur career, right? So in boxing and combat sports, it's not uncommon to say the word contender. And a contender is anybody that's not the champion, right? So you can be ranked number 3 in the world and be a contender. A contender doesn't mean that you're just, some random fighter out there. But if you can kind of avoid these type of words and just use words like he is internationally recognized, he is world-class, he is well-known and leading in this region of the world, that's the type of language that we like to see. And for us, what we do is we keep kind of like a running tab on our support letters that we help people write, just so that we keep a good list of different type of letters depending on different sports. Because a lot of times you're just kind of changing the accolade, but the way that you describe the championship, the person themselves within that sport is the same and very helpful. So with that said, that's what we say about expert opinion letters. They're very helpful for proving the other categories and actually stand as a category themselves. And always remember, if you have a chance to have input on the letter from a governing body, go ahead and try to spruce that up so it can also serve as an expert opinion.